Hi guys, so I'm going to read Star Wars number 2. So this will be in my 1970s Marvel playlist, and when I make 5 Star Wars videos, I'll put them in their own playlist. So Marvel Comics Group, the greatest space fantasy film of all. Star Wars. Luke Skywalker strikes back. Swing that lightsaber, Ben, or we're finished! Stanley presents Star Wars, the greatest space fantasy of all. Roy Thomas, scripter/editor. Howard Chaykin, illustrator. Steve Lealoha, embellisher colorist. Tom Orzechowski, letterer. Based on the film by George Lucas. 6 Against the Galaxy. Luke Skywalker, youthful farmer on the yellow planet Tatooine, has been overcome by the sinister Sand People. At the last moment, not even bothering to kill him, the desert-dwelling raiders turn their attention to Luke's landspeeder, when suddenly... Then, as the great howling moan echoes eerily through the canyon, the Sand People abruptly halt their ransacking, to flee in obvious terror, as if before some horrible monster. But, to the little android R2-D2, the approaching figure is hardly monstrous. Beep boop 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 beep 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 beep. But only a man, his ancient leathery face cracked and weathered by exotic climates.
Don't worry, little droid. You'll be all right.
What happened? Ben? Ben Kenobi. Am I glad to see you?
What brings you out this far, Luke?
That droid over there. He claims to be the property of someone called Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Obi-Wan. Now, that's a name I haven't heard in a long while. Most curious.
I think my uncle knew him. He says he's dead.
Oh, he's not dead. Not yet. Not yet. He's me. But I haven't gone by the name Obi-Wan since before you were born.
Then this droid does belong to you, as it claims?
Can't remember ever owning a droid. Beep-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Most interesting. But we'd best get inside before the Sand People return in greater numbers.
All right, but 3PO! Where's my uncle's other droid?
Aided by the electronic whistles and beeps of little R2, young Luke swiftly finds a very dented and tangled C-3PO lying half buried in the sand, one arm broken off.
Where am I? Oh, I'm sorry, sir. I must have taken a bad step.
Quickly, son. They're on the move.
Soon, in Ben Kenobi's small but homey hovel.
Now, little friend, let's see if we can't find what you are and where you came from.
I saw part of a holographic message that he...
I seem to have found it.
General Obi-Wan Kenobi, I present myself in the name of my father, Bail Antilles, Viceroy of Alderaan. Years ago, Commander, you served the old Republic in the Clone Wars. Now my father begs you to aid us again in our most desperate hour. My mission to you has failed, and I shall be captured. Information vital to the survival of the Rebel Alliance has been placed in this droid. Please see this R2 unit delivered safely to Alderaan. You are our last hope.
Whoever she is, she's terrific. She called you Commander? You fought in the Clone Wars?
Oh, yes. I was once a Jedi Knight. just like your father.
Jedi Knight? My father was just a navigator on a spice freighter.
So your uncle told you. Your Uncle Owen didn't agree to your father's ideals. Thought he should have stayed here on Tatooine and not gotten involved. He was always afraid your father's adventures might influence you.
I wish I'd known my father.
That reminds me. I have something here for you. Your father wanted you to have this when you were old enough.
What is it?
Touch the brightly colored button up there by the pommel, and you'll see.
At the press of a button, a meter-long beam of brilliant, intense light appears.
Your father's lightsaber, the formal weapon of a Jedi Knight. The Jedi Knights were the guardians of peace and justice in the Old Republic. And
how did my father die, Ben?
He was betrayed and murdered by a young Jedi named Darth Vader, a boy I was training, one of my brightest disciples, my greatest failure. Darth Vader used the power of the Force for evil, to help the Empire hunt down and destroy the last of the Jedi Knights.
The Force?
Vader was seduced by the dark side of the Force, and it consumed him. The Force is an energy field, created by all living things. It surrounds, binds the galaxy together. Knowledge of the Force is what gave a Jedi Knight his power. You must learn the ways of the Force, Luke, if you're to come with me to Alderaan.
Huh? Alderaan? I'm not going to Alderaan. I've got to get back home.
I need your help, Luke. I'm afraid I'm getting too old for this sort of thing.
Sorry, but I can't get involved. I mean, I hate the Empire and all, but there's nothing I can do about it. It's all such a long way from here.
That's your uncle talking. Remember, the Force is with all men, binding them together. The suffering of one is the suffering of all.
I can take you as far as Anchorhead. You can get transport from there to wherever you're going.
You must do what you feel, Luke.
Right now, I don't feel too good.
Meanwhile, aboard the Empire battle station known as the Death Star,
Darth Vader.
Now, Your Highness, we will discuss the location of the hidden rebel base.
As the cell door slides electronically shut, the fearful screams of Princess Leia are scarcely heard in the corridor outside. While on Tatooine,
look! There's what's left of the Jawa sandcrawler that stopped by Uncle Owen's place yesterday. All the Jawas. Dead. Looks like the Sand People did it all right. There's bantha tracks and part of those gaffy sticks. But we never heard of them hitting something this big.
They didn't, Luke, but we were meant to think so. Look at these blast points. Only Imperial stormtroopers are this precise.
These are the same Jawas who sold us R2 and 3PO. The troopers must have been looking for R2 because of the princess's message. If they tracked the robots to the Jawas, they may have learned who they sold them to. And that would lead them back to home.
Wait, Luke! It's too dangerous!
But the next moment, Ben Kenobi is left alone with two silent droids. And, before long, Luke is running wildly toward the smoking holes that were once his home.
Aunt Beru! Uncle Ben!
Then, he suddenly sees two smoldering piles, which had once been human beings.
No! No!
Meanwhile, the Grand Moff Tarkin, regional governor of this portion of space, has joined Darth Vader and others before a screen which illuminates the many-starred face of the galaxy.
All systems are operational at last. What course shall we set, Lord Vader? Our Senator Princess resistance to the mind probe is considerable, Admiral Motti. Thus, it will still be some time before we can extract any useful information from her.
Perhaps Princess Leia would respond to an alternative form of persuasion.
What do you mean, Governor?
I think it is time we demonstrated the full power of this battle station. Set your course for Alderaan.
The bonfire of dead Jawas is still burning brightly when Luke returns to Ben and the robots.
I share your sorrow, Luke. Still, the Force is with you. If you had been there, you would now be dead. And the droids in the hands of the Empire. Ben, I want to go with you to Alderaan. There's nothing here for me now. I want to learn the ways of the Force, to become a Jedi, like my father.
Later, the speeder bumps to a halt in Mos Eisley spaceport.
Well, here it is, lad. You won't find a more wretched hive of villainy.
Uh-oh. Here come some Imperial troopers.
You! How long have you had these droids?
Do
Do you come from the south? Let's see your identification.
Yes, all right,
Abruptly, Ben Kenobi interrupts in a strangely controlled voice.
You don't need to see his identification.
We don't need to see his identification.
These aren't the droids you're looking for.
These aren't the droids we're looking for.
He can go on about his business.
He can go on about his business.
I can't understand how we got by those troopers. I thought we were dead.
The Force is a strong influence of the mind, a powerful ally. Though you will discover it can also be a danger.
Do you really think we can find a pilot who will take us to Alderaan? In this cantina?
Most of the good freighter pilots frequent here, but watch your step. This place can be a little rough.
Within moments, young Luke finds out what he meant.
Nagola Tawagin Ul Dugger!
Huh? He doesn't like you. I'm sorry. I don't like you either.
Ketora Vista Sadrak.
I'm afraid I still don't.
Don't insult us. We have the death sentence on 12 systems.
Mangus Makola!
Gentlemen, this little one isn't worth the effort. Come, let me buy you a...
Then, as the bad-tempered alien draws a pistol, and while the bartender is still yelling, "No blasters!" Ben's own lightsaber comes suddenly to life. And a wide-eyed Luke Skywalker is abruptly reminded that old Ben Kenobi was once Obi-Wan Kenobi, a Jedi Knight. Only when the two aggressors lie in sections on the floor does the old man's body appear to relax, or the suggestion of a sigh escape him. In a mixed state of shock and admiration, Luke Skywalker stands speechless. Then, with a shuffling and a many-tongued muttering, the cantina returns to its former state, save that Ben Kenobi is given a respectful amount of space at the bar. The whole affair has lasted only a few seconds. Then, as if nothing had happened, Ben speaks.
Luke, this is Chewbacca. He is a Wookiee.
Luke has heard about Wookiees, but he never expected to see one, let alone meet one. Despite a comical quasi-monkey face, the 7-foot anthropoid is anything but gentle-looking. Nor does his deep-throated, unintelligible response ease Luke's mind much. Neither do Ben Kenobi's next words.
He is first mate on a ship that might suit our needs.
That's wonderful.
While, outside in the street,
what could be taking them so long? Look, here comes a patron out of the cantina.
Beep, 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 beep.
Now he's approaching those 2 Imperial troopers. I don't like the looks of this, R2.
Inside, the giant Wookiee escorts Ben and Luke to a secluded corner. You're pretty handy with that saber, old man. I'm Han Solo, captain of the Millennium Falcon. Chewie tells me you're looking for a passage to the Alderaan system.
If it's a fast ship.
Fast ship? You mean you've never heard of the Millennium Falcon?
Should I?
It's the ship that made the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs. I've outrun Imperial starships. Not the local bulk cruisers, mind you. These are the big Corellian ships I'm talking about. I think she's fast enough for you, old man. What's the cargo?
Just myself, the boy, and 2 droids. With no questions asked.
No questions? Local trouble?
Let's just say we'd like to avoid any Imperial entanglements.
These days, that can be a real trick. 10,000 in advance.
10,000? We could almost buy our own ship for that.
But could you fly it, kid?
You bet I could. I'm not such a bad pilot myself. I don't...
Easy, Luke. We haven't that much with us. But we could pay you 2,000 now, plus another 15 when we reach Alderaan.
That's 17,000. All right. Docking Bay 94. We can take off as soon as you're ready. Looks like someone's taking a look at your handicraft, old man. Moving to the bar, the Imperial troopers ask the nervous bartender a few brief questions. The bartender hesitates, but a man in his position can't afford trouble with the Empire. He points out a booth near the back of the room. But no one is sitting there, but a space pilot, obviously one who does not possess a lightsaber, and a huge stoic Wookiee. The bartender shrugs his shoulders.
I'm afraid you'll have to sell your speeder, Luke.
It's all right. I don't think I'll ever come back to this planet anyway.
Meanwhile, the Imperial troopers have wandered on, but just as Han Solo starts to slide from his booth...
Going somewhere solo?
Matter of fact, I was just gonna see your boss. Tell Jabba I have his money.
That's what you said yesterday. Now it's too late.
But I really got the money this time.
Then hand it over.
I haven't got it on me. You tell Jabba.
Jabba would rather have your ship, I think.
Over my dead body.
That's the idea, Solo. Now, will you come outside with me, or must I finish it?
Sorry for the mess. As in a sleazily used speeder lot?
He says that price is the best he can do. Since the XP-38 came out, this kind just isn't in demand.
It will be sufficient. I have enough to cover the rest. Come, lad.
Ben and Luke do not see the darkly clad creature, which moves out of the shadows as they passed, and watches them intently as they disappear down still another alleyway. At that moment, at Docking Bay 94...
So this is supposed to be the original version of Jabba the Hutt. Obviously he looks very different from the version that was in, like, Return of the Jedi. But yeah, this is the original version. Well, they didn't really... I think George Lucas didn't really have, like, a clear vision of what he looked like. Like, there was a deleted scene where he was just, like, a human with, like, these furs on. And then there's this one where he looks more alien-like. I think they retcon this later as him being, like, this guy's, like, an assistant to Jabba the Hutt or something. There's some weird, like, inconsistencies in this issue, but I didn't really point them out, but, like, they mentioned Bail Antilles, Princess Leia did. That was her original father, but later on, when the Clone Wars and the prequel trilogy came out, it was Bail Organa was her father. And there's some, like, very minor dialogue changes that have happened. If you watch the movie and notice, like, the comic, there's some very minor dialogue changes, but...
Come on out, Solo!
I've been waiting for you, Jabba.
Han, my boy, there are times when you disappoint me. Why haven't you paid me? And why did you have to fry poor Greedo like that, after all we've been through together?
Jabba, the next time you got something to say to me, don't send one of your blaster-happy twerps. Come see me yourself.
I never understood why they added this scene, like, with Jabba the Hutt coming to Han Solo. Because I don't think he would ever do that. I mean, he's too lazy to do that. I don't think he'd send one of his minions again to ask Han Solo about the money. I don't think he'd go himself. But yeah, so I actually think that's better as a deleted scene, because I think it makes more sense for this character. But
Han, if only you hadn't dumped that shipment of spice.
You know, even I get bored sometimes, Jabba. I had no choice.
Where would I be if every pilot who smuggles for me dumped his shipment at the first sign of an Imperial starship?
But I've got a charter now, and can pay you back, plus a little extra. I just need some more time.
It's not good business. Put your blasters away, men. Han, my boy, I'm only doing this because you're the best, and I need you. But if you disappoint me again, I'll put a price on your head so large that you won't be able to go near a civilized system again for the rest of your life.
I'll pay you, Jabba, but not because you threaten me. I'll pay you because it's my pleasure. While, on the ominous Death Star,
we've started to search the Mos Eisley spaceport, Lord Vader. It's just a matter of time before we find the droids.
Send in more men if you have to. It's a hope of that data being used against us that enables Princess Leia to resist the mind probe. When she knows it has been destroyed, once and for all, she will break.
At this very moment, back on Tatooine, young Luke Skywalker is voicing his first opinion of the Millennium Falcon.
What a piece of junk! This ship couldn't possibly go above sub-light speeds.
She may not look like much, but she's got it where it counts. I added some special modifications myself. She'll make 0.5 of beyond light speed and...
Okay, we're a little rushed.
So, if you folks don't mind hurrying aboard, we'll be off! Chewie, deflector shield, quick! Get us out of here! Almost the next moment, the motley denizens of Mos Eisley look up and murmur among themselves in a multitude of inhuman languages. It would appear the Millennium Falcon is off for another run. Yet, almost as quickly as they can be noticed on Solo's radar scope, a trio of Imperial Star Destroyers appear, as if from nowhere. Our passengers must be hotter than I thought, Chewie. Giant starships which, though still far in the distance, are fully 100 times the size of the fleeing Falcon, with a firepower which dwarfs the smaller ships nearly to the point of the infinitesimal. Stay sharp! 2 of them are trying to cut us off! I can't really do a Chewbacca. Yeah, I'm sorry, but I can't really do his voice. It's like a gargle thing. But like,
Can't you outrun them? I thought you said this thing was fast.
watch your mouth, kid, or you'll find yourself floating home. We'll be safe enough once we've made the jump into hyperspace. Plus, I know a few maneuvers that should lose them. Just then, the entire spacecraft shudders as a blinding explosion flashes just outside the viewports. And an even near miss almost overcomes the phototropic shielding. Here's where it starts getting interesting.
Well, how long before you can make the jump to light speed?
It'll take a few minutes for the navicomputer to calculate the coordinates.
A few minutes? At the rate they're gaining.
Traveling through hyperspace isn't like dusting crops, boy. Without the proper calculations, we could pass right through a star, or bounce too near a supernova. And that would end our little trip, real quick.
What's that?
We're losing a deflector shield! Strap yourselves in! We're ready to make the jump to light speed! At that instant, the ship rocks violently as 3PO holds on to his seat for dear robotic life, and R2 sways to and from or fro under the thundering impact of the incoming laser blasts.
Was this trip really necessary? I forgot how much I hate space travel.
Next issue, out of hyperspace and into the Death Star. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Sorry if some of the impressions were really bad. I try my best with them, especially the Han Solo one. I try to make his voice kind of deeper. I don't know. It doesn't really sound too much like Harrison Ford, but I tried my best with it. But hope you guys enjoyed. If you could comment, and subscribe, that'd be appreciated. If you want me to do a certain comic, just let me know in the comments below, and I can tell you the date I can do the comic by. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys later.